Alright guys, I'm gonna go through my material list I got from Menards. I'm gonna store it, you know, you can store however you want, but I kind of worried about the wood and other stuff. I didn't want to get wet, so basically I got all of this at Menards except for some insulation. So I'll go through the materials that I got and kind of give you an idea on what I purchased. So first of all, we've got basically all the wood. You know, I went over that design with you guys on the first video, and then so inventoried. I got all the amount of 2x4s, and mostly those are for window frames, and then a lot of 2x6s at different lengths, and some of the headers. And when you buy the steel at Menards, they tell you how many screws you need, what color. I got these nails are for holding the flashing on and stuff like that, but it's not really focusing on it. But anyway, got a bunch of nails, a bunch of screws, another big box of screws. Those are the headers I'm using for the overhead doors. Should be 6 of those, 4 for the 12-foot door and 2 for the 10-foot door. Actually, all of these 2x6s right here, all of those came with the trim pallet. So if you order a steel package from Menards, they got to ship them in a pallet made out of 2x6s. So keep that in mind when you're ordering your wood. You get a lot of wood just from the pallets, and there's still more out there. I'll show you in a little bit. Also over here we got I ended up using this GAF. It's called Energy Guard. Yeah, Energy Guard poly iso sheathing. So that's what I'm going to use to basically as a vapor barrier, and it's got like an R 3.6 value, I think. So it's not too bad. I mean, I'm not going to keep the building like 70 degrees or anything, so that'll be good for vapor barrier and some insulation, and you can always add some more later. I'm going to use the OSB around the bottom portion of the building. So basically right behind the wainscot there'll be the 1/2 inch OSB, and then a 1/2 inch foam board. And definitely when you get this, the reason I got this is because one side is solid color, when the other side has the lettering. I didn't want the lettering to be on the inside of the building. So there was some stuff from Menards. They were carrying a John's Manville, I think it's called, and it had lettering on both sides. I didn't want that, so I got that GAF stuff has a lettering on one side. So I couldn't find. I would have went with 3/4 inch, but all they had was 1/2 inch, so I just designed the building around a 1/2 inch and went with that. Could have got a little bit higher R value with 3/4 inch, or maybe even an inch, but that should be pretty good. And I still got to unpack this one. This is all the purlins. Basically everything inside is just number 2 SPF or spruce or South Pine Fir. I can't exactly remember what SPF number 2 means, but this is all Southern Yellow Pine 2x4s. That was special order. They don't keep that in stock at Menards, but a little stronger. I hear it splits easier though when you nail it in, but for purlins you want that good load rating, at least from what I can from what I understand. Over here we got some softening. I was hoping that this was going to come cut, but it's not. It's all one piece. Got vented softening, so like every other panel would be vented. It's just going to sit out here. I don't really care if it gets wet. Alright, then what I'm keeping outside, obviously the metal, it should be fine out here because it's going to be outside anyway, but got some corner trim and eave trim, and then all the different pieces they inventory, or they give you when you order a barn. I got a bunch of L flashing and some they call it J channel with free starter, but I call it F and J channel. They don't call it that anymore. And then that's all the steel sheets for the 64 by 36. So I'm just gonna keep that out here, covered up. Probably don't really need to cover it up, but kind of cover it up a little bit. And then these are all the polyiso sheets. I just had a few individual sheets I kept inside because they weren't wrapped up, but since these are wrapped, I'll just leave them out here. They're pretty heavy. They're not gonna blow away. Seem to be covered up pretty good, no tears, so they should be fine getting rained on. Trusses I got from Menards as well, Midwest manufacturing. I bought 36-foot span. These are scissor trusses, so the bottom cord ends right here and it goes up, and the bottom cord's at a 12-4 pitch. Top cord's at bottom cord's 12-2 and the top cord's 12-4. So that way you got a little bit more headroom. You can see there's a couple trusses on the for the ends that are not scissor, or they're not high clearance. But the way I'm storing these is I just got a couple tarps, 30 feet each, and overlapped them in the middle so they stay dry. And then I built this 2x4 support frame to keep them upright. Basically just where they would sit on the building, they're just sitting on the ground in the same spot on these 2x4s. I nailed some, or 4x4s, I nailed some 2x4s on here to keep them from sliding around in case the wind picked up. And then I've got this like 2x4 structure to just hold them upright. They're just toe nailed in temporarily with some just smooth framing nails, so they won't go anywhere. Should stay up there pretty good for a while. Here's my pad. Me and my boy started working on this yesterday. But I'll show you what I used to smooth it out here shortly. But basically it took about 4 inches from up here, moved it down there. It's not perfectly level yet, but it's pretty close. I'm gonna have to move this corner over here out just a little bit more because it drops off, and that stake's about where I want the corner of the building. Right now the stakes are square all the way around here, but I think I'm gonna dig down about 2 more inches everywhere and now move that dirt down here. My plan is to put 4 inches of rock down, pack it, and then 4 inches of concrete. So that's where I'm at. Oh yeah, we got the columns over here. These were the pre-built laminated columns from Midwest Manufacturing, or Menards basically. But they are the laminated columns. The top has got the board missing out of it. You can basically cut the middle board to height and then put your truss down in the middle and bolt it together. But I got 27 of those, as you see in the drawing. That's where I'm at. Got all the materials, got some of the dirt work started. I think next video I'll go over how I'm gonna do the batter boards, and you can see how I square it up. So I'll talk to you guys then. Alright guys, I'm gonna talk about the grading that I did. So I got it done. I didn't take a video of it, but I'll go through what I did. It's pretty simple, but I figured out exactly where I was going to put the pole barn, and then kind of made a arbitrary grade line, and then I knew how deep I wanted to go from there. And then the grade line is basically the bottom of the metal to the bottom of the truss, which is 12 feet on my building. So I went ahead and made I put a stake in the ground and I made it datum. So I'll walk you around and show you what I did. So first of all, you know, obviously got me a laser transit off of internet. And by the way, if you get these, I didn't realize it. I mean, I used my lake, kind of checked one end of the lake to the other and confirmed it was accurate, but actually the proper method is to put a grade rod 25 feet away and then actually spin this while the laser is detecting, while the receiver is detecting level, and then as long as level doesn't change, then you know you're good. But anyway, it was accurate after checked it with the lake, and then I checked it the correct way. And then over here I drove this stake in the ground, and it's just 2x4, and I basically found the highest point of my land, of the ground around the building. So I took the highest point and I called it grade. And then I put this stake kind of out of the way so it wouldn't get hit, but this is like the main datum for grade level. So it's about a foot in the ground, pretty solid. So anytime I need to calibrate off of grade, I'll stick the grade rod on here, adjust the receiver to where it matches, and then adjust it up or down depending on the dimension I need. So I'll go over the dimensions of the drawing, but this whole field here is 8 inches to 9 inches lower than the grade stake. So my plan is to put around 4 inches of rock and then another 4 inches of concrete, so that brings me up 8 inches. Let me think about that. Yeah. So I'm pretty close. I've got some drop-offs back in the back corner here like I talked about earlier. But right now this whole field, this whole pad is about 8 inches below grade. So by the time I get rock and the concrete on, that'll bring it up 8 inches. And then I'm doing two 2x6 skirt boards, which they're actually going to be about 2 inches above grade, so there'll be 2 inches of grade board above concrete. So to show you how I did this, I did all this work with this little Kubota BX tractor I got. I didn't have a whole lot of grading to do, but I bought this box blade from Rural King, just a 4-foot, nothing major. I started with these down so I could dig in pretty deep, and then after I got close I took these and turned them up and just used the scraper blade. So this has got a curved scraper blade. After reading around on the internet, when you get a box blade you want to make sure you got you know, curved blades. Don't get one with straight, it doesn't do as good of a job. So you definitely want to get one with curved blades. So basically just whenever I had my son out with his with the grade rod and the laser transit, and he would stand on a high spot and then I would scrape it towards a low spot and just continue doing that over and over until we're pretty flat. So I got all my materials, got my grade height set with that datum block over there, pretty close on the pad. I'm going to string up the batter boards in the next video, and then I'll take a video as I'm doing it so you can see how that works. Talk to you guys later.